Hi there. Happy Saturday, August 2nd, and welcome to I Read the Clermont Sun so you don't have to. And I got on the wrong hat. Hold on here. There, that's the right hat. So let's get into it here on the Clermont Sun. Here it is. This is the July 31st, Thursday, July 31st edition. The press deadline would have been Monday, August 28th. That's kind of funny that by the time you're getting this paper, it's at least week-old news, typically. We're at 12 pages. It's kind of the permanent reduction from 14 to 12 pages. And let's kind of start rolling here. So the two big stories are the recurring engineer report that gets reformatted by Megan Alley into weekly construction updates. I'll continue to suggest, hey, why don't you have, like, on an interior page, if you want to do this, have a map and have arrows pointing to the different areas, because it's a little hard to follow and read in a textual format like this without a map to go with it. So that's there. And so that's the two top stories in all of Clermont County. Nothing to do with the court system, nothing to do with anything else, but is weekly construction updates, and Union Township announces improvements to Township Park System, which they've been announcing over and over again because it's something to latch on to. So one of the things is I don't know really what's going on. It used to be that Michael Logue could dial up his buddies at Local 12 or some of the other TV stations and get some sort of bullshit press coverage with basically no effort on his part, and always flowery and never follow up on the inevitable failure. Some of you might remember the Local 12 and Channel 9 stories about the Great Mall project. No follow-ups on what a disaster it became. You might remember the Adam Clements Local 12 reporter stories on the Fernando Cruz development that was supposed to take place next to where Sam's is in Union Township. No follow-up when that totally face planted and caved in. And so, but I don't think Michael Logue can get the stories anymore. So now they're resorting to the Clermont Sun versus the Cincinnati media. So the whole front page here is, construction updates, Union Township, pickleball courts in Batavia Township. Then we're going to talk about the county fair report results. And then Clermont County man convicted of 93 counts of sexual assault. Okay, we'll come back to that one as well. I wanted to share with you, though, that in this charm offensive of Michael Logue, all of a sudden, on the park system, here's a Michael Logue. They put out this video. Nothing says collegial hanging out at the park like wearing a suit like a zombie in a parking lot.
Hi, I'm Michael Logue, and I'm standing in Union Township, Clermont County, and I'm proud to serve you as your chairman of the Board of Trustees, alongside trustees Joe Dills and trustee John Becker and our fiscal officer, Ron Campbell. We've been making improvements to the park system across Union Township.
By the way, Michael Logue has a lot of difficulty speaking without it being scripted. So you can tell this is very scripted.
Clermont Park has received significant enhancements. We now welcome dogs at all of our township parks, and last year we added,
I think that's been about 3-4 years that dogs have been welcome.
Dedicated dog park at Clermont Park for all of your furry family friends. Our parks have received upgrades from water fountains, picnic tables, to resurfacing on the basketball courts and the pickleball courts at Veterans Park. And coming this summer, we are so excited to welcome a splash pad at Clermont Park for your young kids to get out and play. Over the last 3 years, we've had a focused effort at improving our communications, both print and digital.
Part of that effort was they lost a Supreme Court case to me on trying to hide communication information. So part of the improvement was losing a
We've welcomed a brand new website and new strategies to engage and hear from our residents. And it's
What are those new strategies to engage and hear from residents? One of them might be moving your Union Township trustee meetings to 7 p.m. where they used to be instead of 6 p.m. because you moved the meetings to a time when a lot of people can't even attend.
To hear from you. We continue to drive economic development with infrastructure projects and partnerships with our local businesses. At Ivy Point Boulevard, we welcome TQL's third expansion for another 1,000 employees.
So they keep over and over again. This is prior regime. This is before Michael Logue. The thing is, since Michael Logue, there's been almost no significant job development in Union Township other than, say, maybe retail or something like that.
And their total employee up to 3,000 here in Union Township. That economic development expansion has also helped pave the way for welcoming Cincinnati Children's, the
Another thing that was before Michael Logue was in office, okay,
and also allows us to reinvest into our parks. We are excited to welcome a new multi-million-dollar investment at Champions Way through a partnership with Rumpke.
So the video just ended right there abruptly, and this Rumpke thing may be a new thing. So I don't know, but you notice that Michael Logue doesn't have, maybe whatever, the video just stopped there. Doesn't talk about the complete disaster at Eastgate Mall and wasting $350,000 of taxpayer money. He doesn't talk about what's so funny with these guys, that their focus was on no multifamily, no apartments, and there's more multifamily and apartments coming online in Union Township than ever. He doesn't talk about the accomplishment of being the pot mecca of Clermont County, with the most welcoming attitude towards marijuana. He doesn't mention any of that. He doesn't mention the failure to get any new big businesses. But any event, so the paper has this on Union Township parks, and so it's some sort of charm offensive that's going on now with videos and so forth. I'm all for parks, but anyway. So Clermont County man convicted, 93 counts. This is typical. This sounds like it would actually be a real story, an important story. But in the Clermont Sun version of the world, the actual government writes the news articles. So submitted by office of Clermont County prosecutor, because Megan Alley is too lazy to call people up and get some quotes and do an actual real report driven off of a press release. She just prints the press release. Now there's this Clermont Fair results. We have a neighbor whose kid was in the fair and I don't know if they did well, but they got some award. And, but it was good. Okay. I'm all for it. Submitted by, this was submitted content. There's actually like more than a page of this content. And the thing that strikes me about it, I think it's good. It's important, but it's almost unreadable because they put it in here as justified. And so look at the way it looks. It's all like broken up because it's justified type. Nobody, I guess, looked at it and said, hey, maybe for this, we should not use justified type because it's very hard to read. And we might want to use, say, like bolding at places so you could tell, you could tell where it's starting a new topical area. It's just like a run on, like organize it by shooting, sports, equestrian, etc. And so it's good stuff. Congratulations to the people that won. It's too bad it's so hard to read and that nobody bothered to look at it from that perspective. Here's the community calendar. I don't know if any of the stuff here. Let's see what the earliest thing is. August 3rd. So not good. Nothing here is in the past from when the paper came out. The Sudoku, Hocus Pocus, Jungle Jim's ad, crossword. This is the typical page 3 is always the same. All right. Now we're on to page 4, the opinion page. We've got my man John with another article about veterans. I didn't even read this. I'm sure there's a following of people that read these articles every week, but this guy gets 1 to 2 articles a week. Most everything has to do with wanting more money for veterans. I'm still waiting for him to ever write an article about how to improve veteran services at reduced cost, which is what we need because we have a $37 trillion debt. Then some article about LLCs being an LLC. Then this guy, I don't even know who Edwin Lewis Tyre is, but this guy writes an article, Danny Tyre. And I don't know. I just found the article. I'm glad to be as down on young people as anybody, but this guy's super down on young people. So it's in here about umpteen youngsters waiting around with soft drink refill taller than themselves. How about all the adults walking around, Danny with their big ass water bottles everywhere they go? How come it make fun of them? Or kids using the F-bomb? I use the F-bomb a lot. You should try it, Danny. Doesn't mean you're dumb. But basically he just slams young people. I agree. There's a lot of young people that are not productive, but there's a lot of young people that are doing incredible things. And he had to go out and, even like going and meeting with these young Democrat kids and these young Republican kids that I have. I don't know if Danny has. They have different perspectives, but both sides. I've bumped into some of these Democrat kids, and they're nice to me and they're thoughtful. And I just feel like there's a lot of opportunity for young people in the future, and for the common sense ones to come forward. Heck, Danny, if you go on YouTube and you watch things like Turning Point and other things, you'll realize that there's a lot of kids that are not the stereotype you want to make them as a bunch of losers. So any event, but I love also Danny's got in his article here, what makes a good kid? Okay. Defending a classmate from bullying, rescue a neighbor's dog from a burning house, mow the lawn for free of charge. Sounds like a great utopian state, young person. I like the young people that understand their civil and constitutional rights, fight for them, fight for transparent, responsive government that solves problems. That's the kind of kid I like. Okay. But a lot of old people and adults think of service as being doing stuff like cutting somebody's grass. And I'm not against that. I'm all for it. But that's not what's going to make our future great. What's going to make our future great is our young people realizing that government is not their friend and that we have rights endowed from our creator. All right. I don't want to dwell on Danny anymore, but I have no idea who. Maybe I should. Edwin Lewis Tyre, but he seems to think this is somebody that I would know who they were. Maybe I should. We've got a typical DAV article. That's normal. I don't think these are news. I'm not against them. I just don't, it's just, hey, I don't fault the organizations either. The Clermont Sun just prints whatever. And so there's a few people that just every week have an article and they just print it for them. And then here's more of the hard to read results. Okay, here's more of the hard to read results. So you think there's somebody in the print edition looking through here, looking for their kid's name somewhere in this? And then we get into the only redeeming part of this paper, the sports section. So we've got two guys got a hole-in-one at Legendary Run, which is cool. I don't think there's a lot of sports going on in the summer. So this is, so these are the kind of articles. So congrats to these guys. Got Matt's take on the Reds. I don't know when Matt's getting back to Dollywood again and giving us an article on his summer vacation. Hopefully that's coming soon. Maybe go to Gatlinburg, cover that. Youngsters of volleyball lessons. Okay, good. All for it. And finally, Jake, you can hear the breath of sigh of relief from Jake. The summer solstice of low sports stuff is coming to an end. Practices are beginning for fall sports. Okay. And then I didn't even look at this. Competed. This is golf. Okay. In national, it looks like it's golf competitions. All right. That's it. That's basically the meat of it. Kind of a sanguine edition. Now I'm only on page 7, but then we've got the multiple pages of the payola articles where government by law has to put payola ads where government has to put ads in here. And those ads is what keeps the paper afloat. All right. Then we've got, this article I wanted to focus on here for a second. So this is another submitted content, what the Clermont Sun is known for. You pay them for press releases, reprints. But look at this article. Student from Batavia is summer intern at Kentucky Department of Agriculture. Okay, I'm all for that. Okay. I'm not against having a summer intern, but this is a news story. But here's what makes it even more fun. It's submitted by the Kentucky Department of Agriculture. So let me see if I understand this right. The government gets an intern, and then the government pays somebody in the government to write articles about having an intern. This is what tax money is getting used to pay for. The government has a press person writing articles about interns and submitting them to local papers. Seems like a waste of money. Seems like a complete waste of taxpayer dollars. But congrats to Danny or Dylan on his summer internship. And then there's the typical Mercy Health submits these articles on summer skin stuff. Okay. And then we've got some articles that aren't even attributed to anybody. They don't say submitted content. They don't say they're done by Megan Alley or anybody. It's just or Jake Dowling or anybody. Okay. It's just like these articles. We just don't even have to put who we're reprinting something for. So county agents, government given awards to government people typically. And then EPA awards, it's funny how they call them awards. So this is tax money. So your tax money is taken from you to Washington, D.C. or to Columbus and then given back and act like you're getting a present. Okay. It's like they could come in and raid your bank account and then tell you that we're giving you an award for 80% of what we took out of your bank account and you should love us. And that's what a lot of this stuff is. Okay. So, but we don't even think through that. What they're doing is tax us, take the money, and then return it with more money taken out to support bureaucracy, and then do it, and then route it back. All right. And then we got something on the Batavia Branch Library submitted by the library. Again, the government writes the news in Clermont County, and Megan Alley is an agent of the government that will never, ever, ever, Megan Alley will never, ever, ever criticize the government. It's not allowed. So going back just to the first page real quick, because I was on the 12th page, we've got the Union Township stuff, pickleball, we got to have some stories at the front that have her name on it. These are all, not a single one of her stories is based on doing any real investigative work. And when she does an article like this Union Township one, most of the time she just reprints the press release. But this Union Township one, I don't know, maybe she asked some additional questions or something. But but it says shared a parks update. So she's writing an article based on a parks update on July 29th. Okay. Hold on here. Let's see. So the press deadline for this, it says on their thing that the press deadline, hold on, let's look at this, check this out. I don't want to run late here. So this says July 29th. On July 29th, the township shared another parks update. This is the July 31st edition. I thought the press deadline was the 28th. So let me go here and look, because I think it says when the press deadline is. All right. Down here, let's see. I might not be remembering right. News deadline is Monday at 3. So let's have some fun here, okay? So the 29th is Tuesday. So the front page article says the Union Township released a message on Tuesday the 29th, but right here, the news deadline is Monday. Monday was not the 29th, the 28th. This just tells you how rigged this paper is, okay? How much they are just a mouthpiece for the government. They even date something in the paper the day after their press deadline for something that has not been released at the time that they're printing the paper. This just tells you how they operate. It just tells you. The news deadline is the 28th, but the news article on the front page said the Union Township released information released an update on their parks on July 29th. On July 29th, okay? So which just tells you rigged. It's just embarrassing, okay? This is not real news. This is government propaganda filtered through Megan Alley, and she can never be critical of anything in government because she just basically is an adjunct to government. And these public notices are a big reason. Without these public notices, Sun goes out of business. All right. So that was fun, okay? And now we're going to get up to the Jungle Gyms ad. So I got to play my Jungle Gyms music. If it lets me. All right, here's a Jungle Gyms ad. I looked at this real quick. I saw a couple deals that would make me get up out of my chair and run over there. One is these Oreos. I love Oreos, and I love the golden Oreos. I'm not a big fan of the chocolate Oreos kind of things, but I love the gold ones. Look at this, $3 off, $1.99 for family size. Now, family size, if you get into some Oreos, you need the party size, not the family size. But for $1.99, I think that's a pretty good deal for the Oreos. I try to avoid getting them, though, because then I eat them all, and then I gain weight from eating Oreos. I don't think they're necessarily good for you, but, man, Oreos and milk is really good. The golden ones in particular. A lot of great meats assortment here. I thought there was, let's see here, there's something else I saw that I thought was a pretty good deal. I went to the store yesterday and forgot to get hot dogs, and I saw they have Conn's Wieners 2 for $5. I think that's a pretty good deal. Here, don't forget to listen to Jungle Jim's podcast. A lot of meats as usual from Jungle Jim's, bacons, fish, just a huge assortment of stuff, farm fresh produce. By the way, what is Jungle Jim's? Jungle Jim's is an example of the success of Ken Geist. So is TQL, so is Cincinnati Children's. Jungle Jim's is there despite virulent protest against Ken Geist for entering a deal to put Jungle Jim's in. And then look at what's that whole area, Eastgate South. Now, all retail areas are really challenged, but compare Eastgate South to the mall side, Eastgate North, the mall side, the disaster that's the mall side versus the Ken Geist side. Mall, Michael Loeb, $350,000, going to fix the mall, declared victory in his campaign. The Jungle Gym side, Ken Geist. Anyway, so we've got, what else we got here? Cheez-Its. I just bought some Cheez-Its. I don't know, that's a good of a price. And then let's go down here. Paper towels. Perry's. I thought that looked like this Perry's box must be made to look like a Breyer's ice cream box. So you got the ice cream, and then natural foods. There's usually a little toy thing. Let's see if there's a toy thing this time. The Asia toys and collectibles. Here we go. Some interesting toys and collectibles. And then you're in with the soft drinks and some sort of beer. And there's no beer here for this time. There hasn't been beer in a couple of weeks. For a long time, they had Natty Light every week on sale. But these are more wines. All right. So let me stop this. So that is, well, it's only 9:24. So that's a quick run through, even with the Michael Loeb video, of the Clermont Sun for July 31st, kind of a boring edition. Looks like it might be hot at the beginning with all those Megan Alley stories, but then you get into it and it's boring. And it's unfortunate the Fair article is so hard to read and so poorly organized in there. So, any event, hey, thanks for tuning in. Have a great Saturday and a great Sunday. And I'll be back next week to go through the Clermont Sun so you don't have to.